Get out before it's too late, Micheal Saylor. MicroStrategy CEO Micheal Saylor's advice to Bitcoin investors. It is worth remembering that on 11 August 2020, MicroStrategy announced via a press release that it had purchased 21,454 Bitcoins at an aggregate purchase price of $250 million to use as a primary treasury reserve asset. Saylor said at the time, "Our decision to invest in Bitcoin at this time was driven in part by a confluence of macro factors affecting the economic and business landscape that we believe is creating long-term risks for our corporate treasury program, risks that should be addressed proactively." Since then, MicroStrategy has continued to accumulate Bitcoin, and its CEO has become one of Bitcoin's most vocal advocates. MicroStrategy's latest $BTC purchase, which Saylor tweeted about on April 5, means that the firm is now HODLing around 129,218 Bitcoins, which were acquired for $3.97 billion at an average price of $30,700 per Bitcoin. Faber started by asking the MicroStrategy CEO how he feels about MicroStrategy's nearly $4 billion investment in $BTC given the current bear market, which had seen $BTC drop to as low as $20,116 from the all-time high of around $69,044, which it reached on 10 November 2021. "I think it's been a net positive. We backtested our strategy against every other alternative. If you roll the clock back to August 10th of 2020, when we embarked on this journey, Bitcoin's performed 10x better than anything else. Gold's down 10%. Bitcoin is up 86% since that time. Over any time frame, 2 years, 4 years, 8 years, Bitcoin's the best performing asset. I can't come up with a better idea. If you think about Bitcoin, if your time horizon is 1 month, it looks like a volatile risk-ass. But if your time horizon is 10 years, it looks like a risk-off store of value asset. So the crossover point is 4 years. Nobody's ever lost money investing in Bitcoin for 4 years. And if you want to surrogate the book value of the Bitcoin network, it would be the 4-year simple moving average. The simple moving average of Bitcoin over 4 years is about $21,685. Bitcoin has only touched that point a couple of times in its history, and those always been great buying opportunities. Santoli asked what Saylor tells those people who bought Bitcoin on margin after listening to Saylor and are now finding themselves in a deeply negative position. "Look, if your time horizon is less than 4 years, you're a trader, and I don't think you should trade anything unless you're a professional. You do it for a living. If your timer horizon is more than 4 years, you can reasonably call yourself an investor. And the Bitcoin savers or maximalists have a time horizon of 10 years or longer. So my advice to anybody investing at Bitcoin is, unless you're a professional high-speed trader with proprietary software, you want to hold it for at least 4 years. And if you want to focus on something, focus upon the 4-year simple moving average. It'll keep you from giving yourself anxiety, and that helps you to understand where we are in the life cycle of the asset." On May 27, the MicroStrategy CEO confirmed that he remains as bullish as ever on Bitcoin during an interview on Fox News show Tucker Carlson tonight. "Bitcoin is the most certain thing in a very uncertain world. In a market full of chaos and sound and fury, people need a safe place to stand apart from the intervention of a government, an agency, or corporation. So Bitcoin represents a fair, open, equitable network with a very simple promise to anyone that wants to join, which is what you own is yours, and no one's going to take it away from you. In these markets right now, there's no simple place to hide. All the indexes are in bear market territory. Bonds don't represent a safe refuge because they're currency derivatives. Stocks have to grow their cash flows faster than the inflation rate. But if you zoom out 2 years since the beginning of the COVID crisis, you notice the US money supply expanded 36%. Gold is up 7%. The S&P index is up 29%. The Nasdaq only up 19%. Bitcoin is up 229%. So if you can stomach the volatility, you take the long view, you've got a safe haven there. MicroStrategy CEO Micheal Saylor talked about why Bitcoin is the best store of value in a new interview, soon after vowing to stick with buying the digital asset even as it comes under pressure. The noted Bitcoin evangelist also shared his thoughts on digital assets going mainstream and why cryptocurrency isn't the right term on Irish economist David McWilliams' podcast on Thursday. Here are Saylor's 10 best quotes from the interview. 1. If you're going to buy any long-dated asset, but especially if you're going to buy property, and if you're going to buy Bitcoin, if you wouldn't hold it for a decade, you shouldn't hold it for 10 minutes. 2. The inability to store your economic energy in the form of property or money over time is an economic death sentence. 3. Property has been that solution. The problem with property is property has a maintenance cost. Property also has a tax bill every year. Say 2%, 1%, 0.5%. The third problem is you can't decompose property into a million little pieces, ship it all around the world, and recompose the property. So property doesn't serve as money very well. 4. It's hard to break off 1/10 of your building and buy a car with 1/10 of a building. Property, unlike Bitcoin, can act as money. 5. The idea of being able to work for 30 years and save a lot of money. Why can't you live off the money that you saved for the rest of your life? The reason is because the store of value was broken. So what happens is everybody is stampeded into risk assets, and you have to bet on Peloton or GameStop or guess, referring to low returns and the meme stock craze. 6. The problem with gold coins is that the gold coins will only be worth 1/10 as much in 100 years or in 50 years as it is today. And the other problem is I can't easily move them around. I want to move $1 billion of gold from here to Tokyo. It takes 3 months and $5 million. I can't decompose it and recompose it. 7. The entire world would shift to dollars and Bitcoin if they could move them on crypto rails at the speed of light. The problem is, a lot of people can't figure out how to do that yet. And still a lot of people in the world misunderstand what Bitcoin is. Buying crypto isn't easy. 8. So the mainstream application of crypto is it's a savings account in cyberspace for people that have neither the means, nor the wherewithal, or the inclination to run their own hedge fund. 9. Bitcoin is not competing with the dollar. It's not a currency. Noting the definition of a currency is it can be used as a medium of exchange without a taxable event. 10. Cryptocurrency is the worst term because legally it's not a currency. Crypto money is an intellectual term. But the problem is most people equate money with currency, and so they come down to the same cognitive traps. Crypto property is much better. 11. El Salvador has got a lot of friction because they're characterizing it as currency and not property. If they had simply said, we're going to use the dollar as a medium of exchange, and then we're going to use Bitcoin as a store of value, and Bitcoin is property and the dollar is currency, you would have none of those sparks flying around. MicroStrategy's Micheal Saylor says Bitcoin's current rally is in fact the start of a new bull run. The software company's co-founder chalks up the new bull market to Bitcoin's halving, more adoption of the crypto asset, and a regulatory crackdown on the industry that should benefit Bitcoin. Investor and developer interest will begin shifting from other blockchains, Saylor says, and into Bitcoin's network as regulation begins to weed out competitors like Ethereum. Earlier this year, U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission Chairman Gary Gensler said that everything other than Bitcoin falls under securities laws. I think the crypto tokens and crypto securities are going to be regulated, perhaps out of existence, he told CNBC on Friday, adding that the token is the one commodity that the SEC is not going to regulate. Bitcoin is the most secure network. It's the most secure asset. Everything else has got a black cloud hanging over it. He added, you're going to see a consistent flow of capital flowing from the rest of the crypto ecosystem into Bitcoin. The Financial Accounting Standards Boards also recently proposed guidance on crypto accounting and reporting, Saylor says, which is a significant milestone as well. It provides companies that hold crypto on their balance sheets, like MicroStrategy, further clarity and transparency for their shareholders, which could lead to further mainstream adoption. The FASB initiative to adopt fair value accounting is a very auspicious development, he said. This, along with Bitcoin's halving, and a migration of Ordinals inscriptions activity on its network, are bullish as well. Ordinals is a protocol that expands the blockchain's use case, and recently helped drive a new record for daily Bitcoin transactions as well. Bitcoin's halving, a technical event that occurs roughly every 4 years, is tentatively slated for April 2024. This could pump the price of the crypto by enhancing Bitcoin's scarcity, because the halving can reduce the number of new Bitcoins released. Although the space is going through growing pains, Saylor says there are still plenty of bullish factors for Bitcoin. Nearly all of the bad leverage has been squeezed out. Everyone in the business of shorting Bitcoin, rehypothecating Bitcoin, loaning Bitcoin, they've all gone bankrupt. The remaining exchanges where you can short are under a massive amount of regulatory pressure. Saylor told the outlet. He added, "I think Bitcoin's found the bottom. I think the leverage is out of it. I think we're on a bull run. Whenever I have some spare cash, we buy more Bitcoin."